Welcome to Suzanne's studio. I'm Suzanne Barnett, your host. And tonight, I am so proud, pleased, and honored to introduce my two guests, Veronica and Dan Magay. I have so much to tell you about them that it would take up the whole half hour. But Veronica is a family and marriage therapist and does art therapy, and she's still in practice in Los Altos. And Dan, oh my God, Dan, you are an Olympic gold medal winner in saber fencing. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel pretty old. That's how I feel about it. That was a long, long time ago.
What year was that, Dan?
1956, Australia.
But you look so young. It can't be. You must
thank you. Thank you
You're
very
still
much.
young. So anyway, let's start out. Let's start out with Dan. Is that okay, Veronica?
Of course.
Okay. First, may we see your gold medal?
Well, I brought it here.
Of course.
Because I was told to do that. So
Of
I
course.
just have to,
You're so modest.
have to open it, and that's how it looks.
Okay,
It's
just
very
hold
simple,
it there.
Very simple.
Keep holding it.
Yeah, I am holding it.
Okay. And also your gold medal. Anyway, Dan, thank you. That's
can I
perfect.
put it?
Yes. But I've never known a gold medal winner in my life. So to have you on the show and your darling, wonderful Veronica, who's I can't believe that painting is so beautiful, Veronica, really.
Oh, thank you.
Just beautiful. But anyway, Dan, what was it like to be a gold medal winner?
Well, it was unusual because I haven't had it before.
Yeah.
But it was at the wrong time also because there was a big revolution in Hungary at the same time, so it's a very complicated mess we got ourselves into. And so the fencing itself was not as enjoyable as it would have been under normal circumstances. But the Hungarians were always very, very good with saber fencing. They won the Olympics since 1928. Every single Olympics, the team won a gold medal. So we sort of expected that we are going to do that.
Now, I'm going to ask you something. I hope you didn't forget your 35-pound container of all your other medals.
Oh,
no.
my God, the 35 pounds.
Dan, how could you have
I don't know.
forgotten? Oh, my God, I'm so
I
upset.
haven't been looking at them for a long time.
And I said, when I found out about all those medals and how much they weighed, how many times did you fence to get those many medals?
It must have been, I don't know, it must have been, if you include Hungary and the US both together, must have been a couple of hundred or maybe more. Maybe more, I think.
Maybe more. Well, since you have your, what do you call those?
Well, these are different kind of weapons.
Here,
Actually,
let me
let me show you. This is a foil. And that's exactly how I started fencing with an Italian fencing master. Well, actually, the way I started fencing, that for a whole year I did nothing else, just doing footwork. And then he let me touch one of these, which was a foil, and it's a thrusting weapon. You can only thrust, and if you hit your opponent this way, then you win a point.
Oh.
Now this one is also a thrusting weapon. It's a little bit more heavier and have different rules about it. The same way works otherwise the same way. And then comes what I really like. is the saber, which you not only can thrust, as you can do with all the others, but you can also cut in different way. You can cut up your opponent.
You actually, I really don't know anything about this, so I may sound kind of ignorant, but do you actually try to injure your opponent?
No.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
But originally all these weapons were developed from duels, actual dueling. And the different weapons were in different countries. The French, Italians use more of the foil, which actually they call the rapier, and both of these. The Hungarians, they like to duel with the saber. I don't know whether you can hit your opponents in many different ways or what was the reason.
Dan, could you stand up and show us your stance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is just a regular, if I have a little space here. That's how you start. And that's your first stand.
Yes.
And you have different kind of way to defend yourself. And this is a prim, which defends you from this side. This is a up. This is a second, which defends the right side bottom. And that's the third, is the side and part of my head. And this is a quart, which on the other side. And this is the quint, which it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
The quint, which defends my head from the top.
Is fencing still as popular, say, in the United States?
In the United States became very popular, actually. When I came here, they had about 3,000 fencers in the US.
Really?
Now they have over 20,000.
Really?
And if you go around the Bay Area, you see small fencing schools where obviously every college. When I went to Berkeley, there was a college team, Stanford, we always beat Stanford. Actually, we beat everybody.
Yeah, you beat everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's so interesting because when you were in Australia, when you received the gold medal, right?
Yes.
And you were expecting to go back to Hungary. Tell what happened.
Well, I was expecting to go back to Hungary because that was that period when we just got to the Olympics, and even before, when Hungary won a revolution against the Russians. They were revolting. The Russians promised to leave. They did, and that's when we went to the Olympics. 6 days. By the time we got to Australia, the Russians came back and crushed the revolution. So I left Hungary with the full knowledge that I will go back to Hungary. Mm-hmm. When we were out in Australia, then it turns out everybody among the 115 in the Olympic team didn't know what to do. And 35 of us decided not to go back to Hungary, which was a sad affair because my parents didn't expect it. They found it out through free rope radio that I didn't go back. So it was very difficult. It was very difficult because of that, and the other is I just became a pretty good fencer, and so I had another 20 years in fencing, more than 20 years actually. The oldest fencer in our team was 52. And he was a brilliant fencer still.
So and you've got a long way to go.
There were 3 fantastic fencers, the old ones, and the 3 young ones. Mm-hmm. I was one of those.
Yeah.
And we were going to take on, they are going to retire, and we are going to be the ones. But all 3 of us did not go back.
How did your mother take that, and your father?
My mother, well, I found out how my mother took that 7 years later when I finally could go back. But apparently she fainted when she found out. It was pretty hard.
It must have been on everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we have some pictures that we'd like to show, and just if you could tell us a little bit.
That just shows me when I still look pretty good. And that's from a Hungarian Olympic book where they just say that I won a gold medal. Now this one with an American fencer, his name is Biagini, and we fenced together a lot over here in San Francisco, and we even fenced on competitions as a team, and we generally won. In fact, I say every time we won.
Every time, of course, with 35 pounds of medals.
Well, they were. But now this is actually, there are only 2 pictures in the Olympics on us, and that's when we received the medals. And on front you see the 3 old ones, at the back the 3 young ones. And the 3 young ones didn't go back, as I said before.
Yeah.
Now this one is when I'm getting from Christopher, who used to be the mayor of San Francisco a long time ago, and he's giving me the key to the city.
And who's that?
And this one you should know. That's the old Brown.
Yeah, not
old
the
governor.
Jerry Brown.
Where I'm sort of teaching him how to fence. And this other person who is a fencer is Biagini, who you saw in the page before.
Now,
and this is just a fun one. This is just a fun thing, shows fencers jumping around after a dinner.
Those are great pictures.
I'm not there.
You're not there?
No, I'm not.
Where were you?
I wish.
Where were you? Oh, those are great. Dan, I was going to ask you, did you ever get wounded from these?
Well, we were wounded in some ways because there were times when we were still young. During the summer, when it was very hot, we were fencing without any protection. So we ended up with big red bloody stripes around. But that's how you learn, because then you really learn how to defend yourself.
Yes,
yes, it did happen. And by the way, after every competition where you fence so many butts, even though we did have protection, you still ended up with a lot of red stripes around.
But no one has died?
Luckily, I didn't die, but there was a fencer who actually died, not on that Olympics, but another one, because the danger of these weapons are that if they break and you don't notice, many times they break very sharp. And you hit and it just goes through you.
It goes right through.
And one of my friends had that situation, and it went through his neck, into his lung. He was in a coma for 3 days. So these things did happen, but not very often.
It's not very often.
No.
Well, I hate to end with you on that note, but it's Veronica's turn. Veronica, what is it like to be married to Dan? A gold medal winner.
Well, what I love is being married to Dan, not necessarily a gold medal winner.
No.
But just the person he is.
And so when did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States in 1957, right after the Revolution, because there was a short period of time when the borders were possible to be crossed, and so we were able to go. Actually, we ended up going to Yugoslavia, because by the time we were able to make the decision, you could no longer go towards Austria. They fortified the border in that direction. And I came with my parents. It's just the 3 of us. We walked across the border. Somebody helped us to go close to the area where Romania and Yugoslavia and Hungary had a triple border. And we walked across and ended up in a Yugoslavian refugee camp. Actually, we were in several of them during the 7 months we spent there.
Was that difficult?
I would say it was a difficult experience, especially after the revolution and the disappointment of the Russians reoccupying the country, not knowing where we are going to be able to come, and not knowing whether I can continue my education. My father worried about how he was going to work. He was a physician, so he knew he had to pass examinations in order to be able to work. He was studying English the whole time when he was not seeing patients because he was working as a doctor in the camp. And actually, I did not have as hard a time as my parents did. I was 17, and somehow when you are 17, you just sort of have more confidence and optimism.
Right,
yes.
right. So tell about being a marriage and family therapist and doing art. That painting you did, here I thought you were a therapist, but I didn't realize you were also a painter.
Well, what happened with me is that being that first when I started going to college, my English was still so poor that I thought I had no chance studying something like psychology, and I did not think I had sufficient talent to be an artist. So I studied bacteriology and got my first degree in that. Worked in a laboratory for a while, actually at Stanford too. And then when I had a chance to go back to graduate school, I decided I really was ready to study something different. I did not want to go back to working in a lab. And I pursued my interest in art and started taking different art classes and ended up taking a workshop in art therapy, which really convinced me this was a great thing. And they started a graduate program at the College of Notre Dame, which now is called the Notre Dame de Namur. They just started an art therapy program, graduate program, and I got involved in that and graduated in 1983 and got a license in marriage and family therapy as well, and started working in San Mateo County, actually. My first job was in a psychiatric hospital, locked psychiatric unit, where I did art therapy mostly, and then ended up eventually doing psychiatric social work. But 5 years I only did art therapy. And as an art therapist, I found that a fascinating work to do for me. I would sit down with people, and sometimes individually and sometimes in groups, and I just wanted to show you an example. I would sit down with one of the people in the hospital, and he would do something like this. And I would say, well, you know, what can you say about this? And of course, not so much. But then I would see him in a couple of days, and all of a sudden, he comes up with this.
Oh, that's good.
So I wish I could always show this to people when they tell me they cannot draw.
That is fantastic.
Of course, not everybody has this kind of talent.
Not everybody.
Not
right?
everybody.
No.
But I was so fortunate to be able to work with people such as this, because this is a man who, you know, usually as an art therapist, I would ask, what do you think about your work? How do you relate to this? What does this say? And what he was saying, gorillas are the most misunderstood animals. Occasionally, I always also feel misunderstood. They are shy, peaceful giants that set a better example for men than what hunters set for them. Isn't that beautiful?
That's so beautiful.
And then he explains what the green color means to him. So I really, really enjoyed working in art. And in order to be, well, I'll show you perhaps one more thing. that while he's drawing, sometimes I would draw people as they are working. So here's a picture of him as I'm working with him.
You are really
And,
an artist.
Just quick,
Yeah.
because I'm concentrating on working and not really drawing. But because of art therapy interest, I decided I better know how to work with a different medium that I can use in art therapy. So I did watercolor and ink sketches. And then I did, just charcoal drawings such as this.
Those are wonderful.
And did photography, a little bit of sculpture. And then I dabbled in oil painting, which is, this is our son when he was, I don't know,
That's your
5 years
son.
old on the
Tell
beach.
about your son while you have
And
a
our
chance.
son is a musician
Yeah.
who is teaching at the Semato School of Music and Art, and privately as well. But of course, he's now quite a bit older than this.
Does he like that
And,
painting?
He has a couple other paintings I made of him, and I think he likes
That's
them.
wonderful.
Yeah,
But listen to your family. You're an artist and medical, that bacteriology. He's a musician and you're the athlete. I mean,
we
that's not
try to cover
fair.
different areas.
I know, that's not fair to have so much talent
Well,
in
I don't
one
know
family.
about talent. I never felt that I had enough talent. But I always wanted to put also what I could do to use. And at this point, for instance, I like to do some volunteer work.
Tell about that.
At the forum, working in the healthcare center, and we're doing some art with people who are there. And I hope to develop that more.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And Dan.
Yes,
Dan Gold, what do you do now? I mean,
not much.
Oh, you must be doing something.
Well, one thing I'm doing, I'm always telling her to do some painting, because that's one thing is very difficult. She has the talent. I couldn't even draw anything. So I can appreciate that she's so talented. But she very seldom does it. We go to Hawaii. Yeah, she's going to. I said, well, there are a lot of things to do. No, she's too lazy about these things.
Besides being bossy, what do you do? Come on. What do you do for you?
I wonder sometimes what I do for
Aren't
me.
you the ping pong champion?
Well, that's
you
nothing.
are.
That's,
yeah.
Ping
You're so
pong.
modest.
Ping pong I just did for fun when I was a kid. When I came here, I haven't played ping pong for 40 years, so it's not something I am so proud of. But I love to do it. I like that. I like skiing. We like to walk around. I like books and we play bridge. Time goes too fast. That's the problem.
It does. It does. But I'd like to tell the audience, I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to, because I like to have a little hot stuff going on. I had to really encourage both Veronica and Dan to be on the show. And we got together, and you're so modest. I had to just pull it out of you.
I'm not modest.
I
at all.
didn't know about the 35 pounds of medals.
I didn't know. I said 21st, but then I waited because I thought I'm wrong.
Later.
No.
No, but it's so interesting because it doesn't matter our age, that thank God we still have things that we can do. And, like once you're such an athlete, to let it go, what is that like, Dan?
Well, that's a very good question. I loved fencing, I really did. Mm-hmm. And if I went back to Hungary, I probably would have been doing it for the next 30 years. So that was quite a bit for me to give up. because at that time to me, it was the beginning of my career. In fencing, you learn and learn and learn, and that's how that is.
Excuse me. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes.
I remember this, that you were with Ray Kim. Is it Ray Kim?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you are in, listen to this, the Hall of Fame. God, everything you do.
The technical.
Hall of Fame for technical excellence and good manager of other innovators. And I know that you're also a, what do you call people that, and you're an inventor. I mean,
I had a couple of things, nothing fantastic.
oh, come on.
But it was a great company. I was blessed to be there, and frankly, I'm blessed to be in this country.
Listen, we're all blessed to be alive. Let's face it, right?
That's another thing.
Do people, does anyone ever say to you, are you still driving?
Do they say
They
that?
say that to me, yes. And I'm saying this on the air. If anyone's watching, please don't ask me that, because I am driving. Maybe for another month or so. No, I'm kidding. No, but anyway, I want to thank both of you so very much for having been on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Well, you're welcome, but it wasn't easy. But I'm really so proud and honored that both of you have been on the show.
Well, we are honored that you asked us.
Thank you. And I want to thank our crew. Don't we have a wonderful crew?
Absolutely.
Yes. They were very nice to us.
And of course, I want to thank our audience for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. So tune in next time. Bye-bye.